What's up, gamers? It's your boy, JKon. Welcome to another episode of Pros and Cons. Today, we're going to be talking about Mushoku Tensei, Jobless Reincarnate. Be warned, spoilers ahead. Let's get into it. Alright, so the pros. The first thing is I thought this was a great animation. I thought they did really well. I thought comparatively to other art styles, I thought this art was really well done. And I just really enjoyed watching it. I thought it was a visual spectacle in the sense of how it was animated. I just thought it was good. I loved their approach to how they used the opening song compared to most animes. I feel like mass majority of times when you have an OP, you kind of just skip it. I know there's certain animes and certain series that you don't really want to skip the OPs because they kind of have a lot of meaning. For example, Attack on Titan has really important meanings in their OPs. JoJo's OPs are really important. But for me, I'm going to be honest, I kind of skip OPs a lot. I'll watch it for the first time or the second time, but after I watch that, I kind of just move on. So I enjoyed how they used the OP to just feed background information of the world that they're going or on the trip that they're on or just what they're doing. That's more casual sense and it wasn't anything crazy. But I just thought just having that nice little bit of exposition, not necessarily with words being fed to us, was well done. And I thought it was more preferable for me watching TV shows or anime to have that than just have like a 30-second 1-minute block in the middle that shows like an OP and then it goes back, right? But again, that's just me. Another pro that I had for this was that I really enjoyed the inner monologue that he had with himself. I think that's something that is taken out from a lot of isekais and I just thought it was nice. Usually their voice that they talk in is the same voice that you talk in that new world that they get isekai to. So I thought it was nice to have his old voice be narrating a lot of his inner monologue because that just kind of shows you that he's still the man he was, quote unquote, before he entered into this new world. But that leads me into my next point where I really loved how they showed his past trauma and how that affected his mentality and him as his development as a person and how that has carried over into this new world. I think that's something that most isekais don't do. I think most isekais really just go from one plain old boring world, you go to the super world, and then now you're this super overpowered character and you never want to go back, right? So they don't really reference the old previous life that often, but having Mushoku Tensei do that, I really like that, especially as he took on challenges to break through those mental barriers that he had holding him back. So I thought that was great. This anime was definitely tropey. It definitely had a lot of the common isekai tropes. You had the tsundere, you had the other world, you have a magic power system. It's set in like medieval times. Everybody has swords, there's kings, lords, etc. But they used the tropes very well. And I thought that there wasn't really much quote unquote like stereotyping of it. And I kind of want to say they use the trope as the trope itself rather than kind of being like a sarcastic use of it. I know that's kind of weird to say, but I thought just using those common tropes helped the story rather than just being part of the background overall. Looping back to the idea of breaking through the mental barriers, I thought it was great that Rudeus got to break through his shell and kind of had the world shown to him, and it was kind of like enlightening in a sense, whether he was a child leaving the house for the first time with Roxy, or when he was kicked out of his house to go tutor Eris, or when he got teleported away. I think just foreseeing that change in him and him being able to work through those was really nice to see as well. And I think that just helped to develop the character a lot more because again, he's going from a character that was really locked in and sheltered to now one that is experiencing multiple worlds and is a great mage in this world, right? One of the arcs that I thought was kind of a little bit slower, but I thought was really nice was when he actually got to spend time to tutor and train not only Eris, but Ghislaine as well. I think having that kind of relationship shown between characters as not only does one help and aid the other, there's mutual respect that this individual can teach me something and help me develop and be better as well, regardless of their age, regardless of their sex, regardless of their skill level or whatever, right? This is like a 10-year-old kid that is teaching them how to use magic, read, and do arithmetic, right? So I thought that was really nice. Speaking of just teaching those little things, I think having Ghislaine not only teach him how to use the sword, but teach him about the beast languages and all the other languages that he had to learn was really, really nice for the world building. I think that's something that is not used very commonly in a lot of shows and anime, is how to build the world properly. And I think utilizing the different languages and showing how he used them later down the line to assist him was really nice to help build out this world, and seeing how one man knowing how to speak the beast language can change so much for so many different people, because there's just like this inherent prejudice when there's a language barrier in them. And I think that's kind of a reflection of society a little bit. So I think that was really nice. Thought it was well done. And I think it helped to really solidify the world building, where there's certain other areas that are lacking that I'll get to. Moving on, I really enjoyed Rudeus's goal of helping Ryujerd to help clear the spirit's name. Again, it's kind of like a very common tropey thing, but I think helping somebody break through stereotypes not only helps himself break through those own stereotypes that he was kind of hindered by, but it helped develop and grow him as a character as well. And I know it's kind of a plot pusher in order to move the plot forward, but overall I thought it was nice. It was good. And I think taking on such a difficult challenge, even when your perspectives differ, is a good thing. So I think that just really helps, again, to continue to push the anime forward. And there are a lot of episodes, so obviously it's pushed forward. And season 2 is coming soon, so, it definitely helps push the plot forward. One of the side characters that I really liked was the Sacred Beast. It only showed up for a little bit, and it's just a little splash in the pan, but got that dog in him, and I'm all about that. A character that I really enjoyed that showed up for a little bit of time was Geese. He showed up when they were trapped in the Beast Village, and then he ended up being Rudeus's dad, Paul's friend. So I thought he was a really W friend. I thought the advice that he gave Paul was really well done, and I think it was nice because Rudeus and Geese, they ended up meeting complete random, and it ended up being such an important connection in order for him to reunite with his dad. So, W friend right there. Speaking of just coincidence and moving on, I kind of enjoyed how Roxy was so close to the party during time periods in the year, but yet they were so far away. They just near passing, but yet so far. But I thought it was really nice that we got to have a little bit of a side episode with her when she got to go home. I think that was a really nice representation for people who may not necessarily have the best relationships with their parents or home, or they have trauma from home, or they just don't view going home as necessarily the best feeling in the world. So I think having, again, another representation for that on screen was really nice, because I think a lot of people can kind of relate to that when you don't really necessarily talk to your parents, or you've been away for a long time and you don't know how to address them, or you don't even know how to go back, or maybe you want to say sorry but you don't know how to. I think just having that on screen is just nice. I think it adds a lot to the show. So W edition. Now let's get to some cons. All right, one of my biggest gripes, I think, was that Roxy straight up was only a main character that was around Rudeus for 2 episodes. But the entire motivation of season 1 and part 2 surrounds around Roxy and her impact on Rudeus. So I just did not like how much of an impact that she had on the character when she wasn't really around. If you're around for 2 out of 24 episodes, and yeah, she does show up later, but come on, 2 of the early episodes, I would hope you have a little bit shown more impact than just being around. So I thought they kind of wasted Roxy in a sense by rushing her experience and time with Rudeus. The second con that I have is that I really wish that the power scale was explained more. Like I said, it's cool to see how strong they are as like, oh, you're a king tier mage, or you're a king tier swordsman, or a god tier swordsman. What does that mean, bro? Like, they gave a slight mini micro explanation in the first couple of episodes when Roxy first started training Rudeus, and that was it. That was the only explanation that they had of power scaling. And I'm not gonna freaking remember what the list is if we're 20 episodes in. So, it'd be nice to have a little bit of an explanation or refresher. Again, I'm really big on those kind of world building details. Yes, they built the surrounding world really well, but they did not build the power scale well. So I don't know how strong Rudeus is. Like, you can tell me he's a saint level mage. What does that freaking mean, bro? And why is he just a water mage? What is somebody else? Like, is there a fire mage? Is there a thunder mage? Like, what are the explanations, bro? What are the level of skills and the other elements that somebody can achieve or go for? I would like to know, personally speaking. Another con that I have with the storyline is that it does time jump a lot, and they don't really show it. And they don't really talk about it. sometimes they'll make like a slight mention of like, oh, it's been 2 years since you've been with us. It's like, oh, cool. Now we know it's been 2 years, but Rudius looks the same. Or it's been 5 years since I've been here. And I'm like, bro, you look the same in the last 6 episodes, but thank you for letting me know that 5 years have elapsed in that time of the 5 episodes, right? So I thought that wasn't really a good age scaling either. So I that's a pretty big downside in my opinion. Another con that I have is that yes, the animation was beautiful and the story was pretty solid. It really did not get interesting until about episode 8. He was at his parents' house for the first 4 or 5 episodes, and then he gets moved over to the castle for the next 3 to 4 episodes, and then he gets whisked away to the demon country. And when he gets whisked away, that's when the anime got interesting. And I'm not saying that every anime deserves a watch, but a lot of people would find it kind of hard to invest at least minimum 8 episodes to get really good. I feel like that's kind of a lot and asking for a lot. I enjoyed it, so I thought it was worth watching and pushing through, but for the mass majority of people, I think 8 episodes is asking a lot. Now we're getting to the big major cons. 1, it was way too horny. Guys, it was way too fucking horny. Like, episode 1, image 1 is titties out there flying everywhere. Everyone's horny as shit. Too much horn dog. Everyone needs to go to fucking horny jail, bro. It's too damn horny. I understand there's like a driving point for the plot, but it's too damn horny. The second point that I want to talk about, this man is like a 34-year-old dude trapped in like a little kid's body. So I understand that he's like a little kid, but also like he's 34 years old and he's kind of teaching a young, like impressionable, like 10-year-old girl into like adolescence. So I think that's kind of weird and that's not talked about enough. It is a little weird that he's kind of grooming her in a sense to be her as like, you know, female of the future, but you kind of ignore that part just a little bit. It's not bad, but it's pretty bad in that sense. So I was not a fan of that. But going into that portion of grooming her in a sense, she did do him dirty. Eris did him really dirty. And I felt really bad, especially at the end of season 1 part 2, because I understand why she did what she did, but to really just do that to him and then the next scene you're in say I did it, but I still love him, like, bro, you can't be doing that shit, bro. It's messed up. And I know I just literally bitched about how it's kind of weird. It is weird, but like still, bro, he's like 13. Bro. Anyways, besides that point, my final con that I had for this show at the end of the day is that there's a side episode where Eris was hunting goblins and then she runs into this character named Cliff. He's annoying and cringe as hell, and I'm praying. I am praying that he does not show up in season 2. Because if that mofo is in season 2, I'm actually going to be so tilted because he's another crybaby cringe lord and I ain't about it. At the end of the day, I thought this was pretty solid. Final score would be 8 out of 10. Jobless Reincarnation. I'm also jobless. Welcome to content creation. Anyways, thank you for watching. I hope you all enjoyed. Please leave a comment below if you have anything to say or want me to know about your opinions on these shows. But other than that, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Stay hydrated, homies. Peace.